when 300 years or more were gone since Noldor came to Beleriand, in the days of the long peace, Finrod Felagund, lord of Nargothrond, journeyed east of Sirion and went hunting with Maglor and Maedhros, sons of Feanor. But he wearied of the chase and passed on alone towards the mountains of Eredlindon, that he saw shining afar. And taking the dwarf road, he crossed Gelion at the ford of Sahanathrad, and turning south over the upper streams of Asgar, he came into the north of Osirion. In a valley among the foothills of the mountains, below the springs of Thalos, he saw lights in the evening, and far off he heard the sound of song. At this he wondered much, for the green elves of that land lit no fires, nor did they sing by night. At first he feared that a raid of orcs had passed the leaguer of the north, but as he drew near he perceived that it was not so, for the singers used a tongue that he had not heard before, neither that of dwarves nor of orcs. Then Felagund, standing silent in the night shadow of the trees, looked down into the camp, and there he beheld a strange people. Now these were a part of the kindred of the following of Beor the Old, as he was afterward called, a chieftain among men. After many lives of wandering out of the east, he had led them at last over the Blue Mountains, the first of the race of men to enter Beleriand. They sang because they were glad, and believed that they had escaped from all perils, and had come at last to a land without fear. Long Felagund watched them, and love for them stirred in his heart. But he remained hidden in the trees until they had all fallen asleep. Then he went among the sleeping people and sat beside their dying fire, where none kept watch. And he took up a rude harp which Beor had laid aside, and he played music upon it, such as the ears of men had not heard, for they had as yet no teachers in the art, save only the dark elves and the wild lands. Now men awoke and listened to Felagund as he harped and sang, and each thought that he was in some fair dream, until he saw that his fellows were awake also beside him. But they did not speak or stir while Felagund still played, because of the beauty of the music and the wonder of the song. Wisdom was in the words of the elven king, and the hearts grew wiser that hearkened to him. For the things of which he sang, of the making of Arda, and the bliss of Aman, beyond the shadows of the sea, came as clear visions before their eyes, and his elvish speech interpreted in each mind according to its measure. Thus it was that men called King Felagund, whom they first met of all the Eldar, Nom, that is, wisdom, in the language of that people, and after him they named his folk Norman, the wise. Indeed, they believed at first that Felagund was one of the Valar, of whom they had heard rumour, that they dwelt far in the west, and this was, some say, the cause of their journeying. But Felagund dwelt among them, and taught them true knowledge, and they loved him, and took him for their lord.